Hi guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. You're driving in a freezing conditions. What should you do as you approach a sharp bend? Right, well, it's freezing. You've got ice on the floor, therefore you've got low grip. If you've got low grip, don't ask the tyres to do much work. No sudden braking, no sudden steering, no sudden accelerating. Nice and slow, don't ask it to do very much. Just gently, gently, gently. Like you've got a bowl of water on your lap, you don't want to get a wet lap, you know, just be gentle, be nice. So, coast into the bend, push the clutch down. No, I don't think so. Apply your parking brake. No. Firmly use your foot brake. No, because you would skid on that. Slow down gently. There you go. Gently brake over a long distance. We're not asking it to do an awful lot. Reduce your speed so when you go into a corner that you've not got much lateral movement, and therefore you should stay in your lane. You're about to start a journey in freezing weather. What part of your vehicle should you clear of ice and snow? Right, basically lights, windows, number plates, windscreen wipers, all that sort of stuff. You should also clear any snow that you have on the car, because as you drive down the road it's going to grab hold of it, it's going to lift it off. If you've got snow on your bonnet, it's going to get repeatedly thrown into your windscreen, so it's difficult to see. And if you get a big chunk of ice that lifts off the top of your car and lands on the car behind you, I've seen videos where they smash people's windscreens because this ice just flings through the air and goes smash. Okay, so you should remove any snow that's on the car, but basically headlights, number plate, windows, anything that obscures your view and the ability to be seen. So let's have a look. What part of your vehicle should you clear of ice? The aerial, don't care. It's the radio, isn't it? The windows, you have to be able to see out the windows. All of them, not just a little bit, that's highly illegal. All windows must be completely clear. The bumper, well, if there's snow sitting on the bumper and blocking the headlights, then that does need to be cleared, but the windows are the more important. It's the actual headlights that they're interested in, not the bumper. See what I mean? Depends on how they word it. And the boot, well, it should be cleared for the safety of the people behind us, but the number one priority over all of that is the windows. So see, driving in bad weather increases your risk of having a collision. If you absolutely have to travel, clear your lights, mirrors, number plates, windows of any snow or ice. But also anything sat on the car should be cleared off. I've actually got a broom on an extendable pole at home, so when it snows I just put it up and just push all the snow off. It's alright. Use it for cleaning the car, but it's just as good for getting rid of snow and ice. What will help you to move off on snowy surface? Right, grip at the end of the day. I can't emphasise enough, buy all season tyres, alright? In England we buy summer tyres by default, which are great in summer, but as soon as the temperature gets below about 7 degrees they start to become a bit rubbish. My learner cars, I run all season tyres, so I don't care if it snows. I still do lessons in the snow. I don't care if it's sunny. My tyres can deal with all conditions because the tyres have been designed to deal with a greater variance of weather, and where we live in the south of England, all weather tyres are the perfect tyres. So that's the first tip. Have the right tyre on the car, right? However, assuming that you are like the majority of England and just drive summer tyres, what will help you to move off on a snowy surface? Use the car's lowest gear? No, that'll incur wheel spin. Use a higher gear than normal? Yes, because that reduces the chance of getting power through. Is there a better answer though? Use a high engine speed? No, because high engine speed, which you get from a low gear, means you get more power. Don't want power, I want low power to avoid wheel spin. And use the parking brake and foot brake together? No, if you put the parking brake on, all you do is you lock up the rear wheels, and then if you stop the rear wheels then they skid, don't they? So your car's going to pirouette. So I'm happy with that. What should you do when you park a car facing downhill? Right, simple. Here's a curb I prepared earlier. Here's a car. Now, we'll pretend that this is downhill. As you park on a hill, if your brakes were to go wrong or something, your car will just roll downhill, won't it? Right. But if I turn my wheel so that it's pointing at the curb, the car will roll all of about 30 centimetres, if that, and then get wedged on the curb. And therefore, the chance of your car continuing down the hill excuse me, is massively reduced. If I was going pointing uphill, so let's say this is uphill now, the car would roll backwards, wouldn't it? So I would actually steer away from the curb, or no, yeah, I would steer away from the curb, because then my wheel would just suddenly go bump onto it. So I want to think about where my front of my car would go as soon as the car starts to move. So if I'm pointing downhill, I steer towards the curb, and if I'm pointing backwards downhill, then I would steer away so that the front wheel just wedges onto the curb. I'm trying to get the front wheel wedged onto the curb, basically. So what should you do when you park a car facing downhill? Turn the steering wheel towards the curb. Agreed. So as the car starts to roll downhill, you just get wedged. Okay. Park close to the bumper of another car? Well, I mean, no. Park with two wheels on the curb? No, you'll still shoot off down the hill. Turn the steering wheel away from the curb? No, because as the car starts to roll forward, it would roll out into the middle of the road, wouldn't it? We don't want that. On what type of road surface may anti-lock brakes be ineffective? Right, at the end of the day, your brakes are going blah 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 because they're skidding. But if there's nothing to grip to, you know, so even if they release the tyres, if the tyres are still sliding around on the road surface, and then the ABS system won't actually grip anything. Your brakes need to brake onto something, and the only time you're going to get that is if you have loose surface, such as gravel. Okay, so if you get stones or anything like that, you sometimes get that on roundabouts, where a lorry goes round a roundabout and the contents like gravel or dirt or whatever get spilt out onto the roundabout. And as you go round the roundabout, if you put your tyres on that loose surface, it'll slide sideways because the tyres can't actually touch the floor. So it doesn't matter what the brakes are doing, if you can't touch the floor, you don't grip, and therefore you're scared. What would suggest you're driving on an icy road? Right, okay, let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. We've got less wind noise. Wind doesn't affect the road surface. If it's a windy day, it's a windy day and you'll hear wind. There's less tyre noise. Yes, there is. Tyre noise is when you're driving down the road, the tyres themselves gripping the floor, and that rubbing creates noise. If you're not actually gripping the floor, there's no rubbing, so therefore the tyres don't make a noise, or at least the noise levels reduce. So actually tyres go quiet when you're driving on ice. So there will be less tyre noise, but is there a better answer? There's less transmission noise. Transmission noise is with the gearbox rotating, and so if you're driving down the road, it's still rotating, it's still making noise, so not that one. And there's less engine noise. Granted, the engine will be working less, but great scheme of things, it's still going clack, 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 so no. So the best choice out of that is less tyre noise. Excuse me. You're driving along a wet road. How can you tell if your vehicle's tyres are losing their grip on the surface? Okay. So, well, if I'm not gripping the road, then my steering wheel will wobble around. I'll have wheel spin, potentially. I won't turn when a corner turns up. It'll be quieter. The sort of things. So let's have a look. How can you tell the tyres are losing the grip on the surface? The engine will stall? No, it's got nothing to do with the engine. The steering will feel heavy? Unlikely, because if I steer, it's not gripping the floor, so it should be very light. Engine noise will decrease? Maybe. Steering will feel very light. There you go, perfect. That'll do me. You're driving on an open road in dry weather. Happy days. What distance should you keep from the vehicle in front? Right, in a dry road, minimum stopping distance is 2 seconds. I will find a video. There's another video I want you to see about the 2-second rule. I'll go and dig it out. Very good. I found it interesting. But on the dry, minimum 2 seconds. Double in the wet, so it's 4 seconds. 10 times, so 20 seconds if you're on snow or ice. That's physically on snow or ice, not just it's been snowing and the roads are wet, because that's a wet road rather than an icy road. So you need to be on the ice. Okay. So a 2 second time gap. Now what that actually means is you've got a car driving on the road, and when he gets to here, so just where my nose is, you should go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then the second car should then pass the same point. and therefore if he's travelling at speed, the gap that you need is going to be bigger. So if you're travelling slowly, it'll take a long time. So you can actually be quite close together, but as long as you have at least a 2-second gap, then it increases the gap between you. So it's a very good way of doing it. So time wise, the faster you're travelling, you will physically end up with a bigger gap, and all you have to do is go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then pass. Now don't forget all of these things, these are minimum distances. If you're on a driving test, he doesn't want you driving at 2 seconds, he'd prefer 4, wouldn't he? Or 10, he doesn't care, he doesn't want you near the car in front. But officially, the smallest gap you should have is 2. I personally always make it 3, I add 1. So I have a 2-second gap, make it 3. I have a 4-second gap, make it 5. Personally, that's what I teach my students. So you're driving on an open road in dry weather. What distance should you keep from the vehicle in front? 2-second time gap. 1 car length, way too close. 2 meters, that's about half a car. Way too close, 2 car lengths. Forget it. It depends on how fast you're traveling. 2-second gap. How should you use your anti-lock brakes when you need to stop in an emergency? As we've discovered, smack them on, leave them on. So, keep pumping the brake. No. Brake normally, but grip the steering wheel tightly. No, it's an emergency. Brake promptly and firmly until you've stopped. Love that. Apply the parking brake. No, I don't want to. If I put the handbrake on, I'll end up with a skid at the back because I just stopped the rear wheels. Next, what should you do before starting a journey in foggy weather? Right, let's see. Wear a high-vis jacket. Well, only if you get out the car. Have a caffeinated drink. No. Some people get headaches. Allow more time. Well, that makes sense. You're driving in fog, therefore you can't see as well, therefore you should be driving slower. You must be able to stop within the distance you can see to be clear. Use of speed and limit points as a document, and in fact I've probably narrated it actually, but limit points, you must be able to stop within the distance you can see. So if you can't see very far, you travel slower, therefore it's going to take longer, therefore you should allow more time for your journey. Reduce your tyre pressure. No, tyre pressures are all to do with grip on the floor. I don't want to reduce the amount of grip that I have on the floor, that'd be just stupid. Right, don't venture out if your journey isn't necessary. If you have to travel and someone is expecting you at the other end, let them know that you'll be taking longer than usual for your journey. This will stop them worrying if you don't turn up on time, and will also take the pressure off you, so don't feel you have to rush. That is quite a key point actually. Often people rush and make errors and mistakes and crash purely because they just don't allow enough time. Why not just add? Give yourself 5 minutes, therefore if you get caught in traffic lights broken, temporary roadworks, whatever, you're sitting there still chilled because you're always projected to turn up 5 minutes, 10 minutes early anyway. So just add more time, it's fine.